Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to do my very first acrylic pour. Here are a few of the paints that I used, and these were just paints that I already had on hand from other art projects that I had done in the past. And so I didn't really go out and spend a whole bunch of money on this because this is my very first learning project. And I was looking for paints that would give almost an ocean feel, ocean colors. This Artist Loft Aqua Green was something that I did purchase. It is a ready mix paint, and same with the Artist Loft Flow Acrylic White. I also used the Artist Loft Pouring Medium and also the Artist Loft Silicone Oil. Now, I did a lot of learning through this project. The first is, you can tell here with the white. Number one, I didn't actually use enough on my canvas to begin with, which made the paints kind of get stuck. They didn't flow as well as they should. That was the first thing. I didn't use any of the silicone oil in the white, and I did put a couple of drops of silicone oil in each of the colors. I didn't want cells to be created in the white, only in the colors. Now, the issue that I did have is I followed some instructions from another YouTube channel, and she had recommended that you can mix with water. So I had used paint, the pouring medium from Artist Loft, and then a little bit of water, and then a couple of drops of silicone oil. The issue that I now know, and part of the learning, I guess, when you're just starting out, is that I don't think using water was the best choice, and you'll see why as we move through. The other thing that I did here is I definitely shouldn't have layered the paints all on top of each other. I think that I should have created more separation when I poured them onto this canvas. And you can see that this canvas is just a cheap dollar store canvas that I bought because I knew this probably wasn't going to go very well on my first attempt. And so that's why it's got all the staples around the outside. It didn't really matter. I wasn't going for anything fancy. I just wanted to practice, have a little bit of fun. And so, oh, look at that. I poured way too much of that green onto the canvas. I think that was the emerald green. It is the most, I think I had the most of that in the cup. And so this is where it even goes awry again. So I thought I'm going to use a blow dryer like I'd seen on the videos, and I'm going to blow the paint into really fancy designs on the canvas. But here's what I learned. Number one, you need the little plastic directional piece that goes on the end of the blow dryer so that you can control where you're blowing it. The second issue here is that I did way too much, and you can see that the green, because of the big puddle of green that I had poured onto the canvas, it really took over, and I was losing any form of cells that might have been created. So here's me trying to recover a bit. I noticed that there was still way too much white. Again, not enough white on the edges to help it to flow either. So I was looking at what do I have left in my cups that I can help to fix and correct the areas that didn't look too good. And I really had thought that with these color choices that I had used enough variety of lights and darks. I had a light blue, and I did have the neon green paint and also the white. But what I noticed is it was way too greeny in terms of the whole canvas, and I had wanted more blue, especially because I was looking for the ocean feel. So unfortunately, I think next time I would include a bit more color variety, especially in the lighter tones. Potentially, maybe even a yellow, a gold, a silver, even a little bit more white might have helped. Or a beige, a really, really light beige, off-white color. Anyway, so here's me trying to correct, finish off what paints that I had. I knew at this point that the final the final project probably wasn't going to turn out like I wanted anyway. And so I was just going for it and just experimenting. It was totally fun, regardless of whether or not it turns out exactly like what you'd like. And part of this is about the learning, and I learned a lot. I didn't put any of the silicone oil drops in the white, and so um, and it was definitely runny. I think it was the right consistency, but it definitely, I think overall all the paints were just so watered down that all of the cells or potential cells that could have been created through the silicone oil, it was all lost. They just all got blended together, and you can see the green has completely taken over. So I thought, well, if I start to tip it a little bit more, maybe I can get some of the green off the canvas, and I can help to cover some of the edges that just didn't have enough paint on them. And so here you can see I'm trying to both cover the edges but also bring in more blues and tip off some of the green. There were aspects of it that I actually did like. I don't mind the wavy designs. It's just that they started to get so muddy that I was looking for some more wavy type designs in it, and I really was hoping to get some cells. And at this point, I think all of the cells were pretty much lost. And here I am trying to use the torch, thinking that, hey, the torch will bring out the cells. I've seen that work on other people's projects, but alas, that was not to work for me. So, yeah, I sat there and I thought about it for a bit, trying to figure out what I could do to fix everything. And you can see there's a couple of cells coming out in the bottom there, but it wasn't enough. And I knew I wanted way more blue, especially the dark blue. The dark blue would have been so nice to create that depth. And so I did go back here and start to drop in a bit more of the dark blues. It didn't really fix it overall. But what I was trying to do with this canvas, which you'll see at the end, it doesn't really matter. It was just fun. Great learning experience, especially on how to mix the paints together. I had actually tried to find some of the Floetrol, and I live in British Columbia, Canada, on Vancouver Island, and I just, other than purchasing it on Amazon, and I think it was some outrageous amount of money because I had to ship from the U.S., then I just decided, well, I could probably do it with just the pouring medium and some silicone, but I wasn't able to get the Floetrol at this point. I did get some later. I think in my just in my most recent attempt, I did manage to get some Floetrol here in Canada from the Dulux paint store. So here I am. I'm trying to add some of the neon green. Again, trying to create a little bit more dimension, which was missing. It had an ocean feel, but definitely needed more variety between the darks and the lights, in terms of the color range. And also the edges just weren't covered, and that again was because I didn't use enough white to help the paint to flow right off the edges. Plus, when you're working with a really cheap canvas, it wasn't really level. It was a little bit bowed in the middle, and so the paint didn't flow off the edges like I would have liked. Not a big deal. I think in the end you'll see I managed to recover at least some of it. It's always a fun fun way to learn when you haven't invested a whole bunch of money into the art or into the project. And it was just very relaxing. Great way to spend some days off during the Christmas break. You see my Christmas tree in the background. With COVID, there wasn't really much else to do. Couldn't go visit friends and family, and definitely couldn't travel. And so it was a nice, relaxing way to spend the afternoon. And so here, I think I'm pretty much out of paint. I think, yeah, I did do one more tip, trying to get some of the green off, I think was my goal. Really bring in more. I didn't even mind the white so much, but that green was just, it was overtaking the whole canvas, and not enough of the ocean look for what I was hoping for. And so tipping it, helping to cover the edges and to bring in more color combination. And then I think I did figure the blowtorch might by some miracle bring out a few of the cells from the silicone. It didn't really do what I had hoped. Yep, just a light blow over, especially in the green area there that I wanted more color variety. And at some point I think I decide it's probably enough, and I did walk away from it for a bit, and then I came back a bit later, and I think I did a few little touch-ups here and there, still thinking that I could bring in a little bit more of the blue or the white, for what I needed. So you'll see there's a bit more white in here, and this was the wet look, the final wet look. And see, it's got a little bit more dimension now with the white and a little bit more of the green, neon green, that is poking through in the middle there. So I did salvage a bit of what I was hoping for, because what I wanted to do was to emboss the island life. So I used some embossing powder and heated it up so that I could create that with stamps, and then a vinyl graphic of Vancouver Island, so that my sister could use this in her bathroom. So that's it. That was the art project number 1, my first acrylic pour, and I'll be back again to show you if I get better in the next go round. Thanks for watching.